The, the following video is me sticking my nose into a conversation between Kid A Idiotech and Silvercelli. So I just want to let you know that with this video you are officially in trouble because, yeah, notes. Now, the following, I understand that it may not have been your direct point about Randy Tooth, but you mentioned that he had no coherent ideology. It didn't seem like he could really dig his heels into anything. For that, I would like to quote Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien. And he talked about, in one of his writings, about how going to a person that you never really wanted to answer or ask them a question, because the answer you would get out of them is both yes and no. It's a bit of a complicated issue, and in my opinion, it comes down to just like three-dimensional knowledge, where the guy is able to actually look at something from both directions, and he'll give you both answers when you're looking for perhaps his opinion. But you probably noticed that Randy Tooth's opinion varies quite a bit. And I think it's something that may come a bit with, I don't want to give Randy too much credit here, but I think it's something that comes with mastery. Like, you no longer emphasize opinion so much as varying information. Then you can weigh that information accordingly, or bring it basic. And I think what Randy Tooth does is he over basicifies it. Is that a word? Basicify? He can make it pretty simple. Like, he'll show you his big old brain, and then he'll be like, I'm just a simple man with simple needs, but da, 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 da. But that's it. That's what I wanted to say about coherent ideology. You can find in some people that you can't actually pin down their ideology, and it's because they simply don't have one. They are interested in how they flow with the world, and they examine the world in such a fashion that they sort of know who they are, and they just kind of fit in, and that's the view of the world. Now, you mentioned what I gathered. Please bear in mind, this is just what I gathered from the video. I'm not trying to let you know what your intentions were. That economics can be a hard equation. It's not the liberal observation of just how things affect or how we feel about something. And that is true to a point, okay, in my understanding. However, while the equation itself is fixed when we analyze economics, quantifying the base value of production is not so easy to fix. And that makes the equation a much more subjective issue. Okay, it's not something so simple like factory A produces XYZ, factory B produces XYZ as well, and the sum of the production of both factories is XYZ times 2. It's not so simple. Because the value of what that factory produced is based on the community accepting that product. And effort does not always match acceptance, and value does not always match acceptance. And acceptance is not something that can be forced. And as people are finding out very difficult, as people are finding out the hard way, trying to manipulate acceptance can have very dire consequences. Now, what I gather from from what I've seen of you, is that you are a very, very strong pundit for a laissez-faire, which is wonderful. It's wonderful that you've taken the time to study the value of a true free market, and that's great. And given the choice between the two, a free market between a manipulated market is very good. However, a free market does not exist. It doesn't even exist when there's no government intervention. What you eventually have a free market evolving into would be a corporate market. And the issue that you run into quickly with a corporate market is what a corporate entity can do. The worst thing it can do, one of the worst things it can do, is that it can divide potential liability to the point where it can undercut a competitor's product value. Okay, let's say we have those two factories again, both producing X, Y, Z. Okay, it starts out it's just me and it's just you, and you're in factory number one, I'm in factory number two, and you continue to produce X, Y, Z just by yourself. Well, I decide that I want to put you out of business. Now, there's no way on earth that I would be able to just decrease my costs. There's no way that I would be able to decrease the cost of my product to the point where I could harm you if it's just you or I. However, if I get enough people into factory number two with me and we incorporate that liability, and I say spread it around 4 people, and we're both able to say lose 25%, well, we can bring the cost of our product down to the point where you can no longer compete, and you either need to do the same, and then we slowly build up both by ourselves, or you just flat out go out of business if you can't think of doing the same thing that we just did. Then once you do it, now I have the market cornered. I'm the only person producing what the community desires, and I can put my price wherever I want. And because there's no open competition, you can't compete. There just isn't a vacuum. There isn't a vacuum for either side. There's no vacuum for communism. There's no vacuum for capitalism. It just doesn't happen. If you fully take down regulation, then you will end up with a criminal enterprise filling that void, and that's the most unfortunate situation. Now, what I do want to close on is I totally dig your outlook on economics, and I'm interested in it for the exact same purpose. It has a very, very high utility, and the knowledge of it has a tremendous utility. And I believe that knowledge in economics can be very, very empowering for anyone, regardless of what point of view they decide to have. But that being said, I would like to caution you to not merely set up one camp and raise your flag with, well, laissez-faire is the only way, because that honestly isn't the world that we live in. And there's a lot of people, and economics, I believe, just as I mentioned at the start, the portion of economics that's subjective is the part that makes it much, much less of a science than some would have you believe. So, great video, man, and great discourse with Randy Tooth, and we'll be seeing you.